You probably think you're working on reprogramming your subconscious to change your self-concept. But if you're not completely rewiring your nervous system, you're only halfway there. And that can often be why you feel stuck. Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Lorena, I'm a somatic self-concept and identity coach, and I support you in bridging the gap between who you currently are or see yourself as and who you desire to be or become. Today we're going to tackle the connection between the subconscious and the nervous system. When you want to step into a new version of yourself and embody a different self-concept, a different identity, it is absolutely crucial to dismantle your subconscious beliefs. Because your self-concept originates in your subconscious. There will likely be things about yourself that you know you believe, positive or negative or neutral. We don't even need to label it. But there are things that you're very much conscious of, how you feel about yourself and what you believe about yourself, and even the identity you operate from. You know how you show up in certain contexts, but a lot of that you don't know. A lot of the identity that you have is so embedded within you, it's so natural to you, that you might not even be aware that it could be different. And that is true for most people. And so most of the beliefs that you have about yourself are unconscious. And more so than that, the root of those beliefs, the reasons for those beliefs are even more unconscious. Often who we think we are consciously is not really who we are deep within. For example, maybe you've experienced that you thought you were confident about something, you were really certain that something was going to work out or that you were going to show up in a certain way, but then the nerves hit and you realize that you actually do have a lot of insecurities about it, or that you actually did lack belief about it. Or maybe you think you know you're worthy of what you want, but for some reason you find yourself sabotaging the very thing you desire. Or you catch yourself taking actions that aren't in alignment with the belief that you are indeed worthy. Your actions and your reactions will show you your true beliefs a lot more than the words you keep telling yourself. And that's because your subconscious has a lot more influence over your self-concept and your external reality than you're maybe consciously aware of. And that applies to all of us, including me. This is why I love this work so much and geek out on it. This is why I've made it a career, because it's an ongoing journey and it can be a really beautiful one. And so it's really important to dive much deeper than just deciding what you want to believe or what you want to feel or who you want to be. You have to get to the core of your psyche and really process what is holding you back from becoming who you want to be. So that's why it's incredibly important to work with the subconscious. But there is this misconception that subconscious reprogramming is a mental process, even if that's an unconsciously mental process, because it's not at all. It's really great to have some potent mindset tools. I'm all for that. It's important to do that. If you're already familiar with my work, then you know that my approach to transforming your self-concept is really holistic and emotionally integrated. So there's a lot of mindset work that goes into it too. But whilst it's good to use tools that involve words, such as hypnosis or EFT tapping, both of these modalities kind of work with the subconscious and work with the body as well as with the mind. They both work with implanting words whilst you're in a state that's receptive to that. But the subconscious primarily lives in the body. I often think that it's kind of annoying that it's called subconscious mind, because sometimes that keeps people in a state of over-analysis where they're trying to figure things out rather than actually going into their psyche and into their subconscious, which admittedly is not easy to do, especially if you don't have support with it, if you don't have a container around it, you don't have somebody who can guide you through it. But it's always better to go into it rather than talk about it. I actually have a free masterclass replay called Beneath the Surface, which is all about the subconscious. It's 2 hours or so, maybe 1.5, all about subconscious reprogramming and mastering the subconscious mind. So you can have a look at that in the description box below. The link is right there. But what all of this means that I just talked about is that a key player for subconscious reprogramming is the nervous system. Your nervous system is what you react from. It's where your emotions live. And the language of the subconscious is not logical. It's not rational. It's feeling. It's sensation. Think about it this way. You already had feelings and sensations when you were a baby, when you were a newborn. Your subconscious was active, even though you did not have an identity yet. Even though you didn't have conscious thoughts yet. You can't have thoughts. You don't know words as a baby, right? But your subconscious is still active because it operates by feeling. And so it's not so much about changing the beliefs that you have about yourself through words. What is actually key is the emotions that are attached to the beliefs that you have about yourself. Most of the work that I do with my clients in Recreate Yourself is about releasing the emotional charges from their system, from their nervous system, and also rewiring their beliefs on a nervous system level, on a somatic level, which, by the way, is a lot different than just doing some quick EFT tapping. Not that that's not a powerful modality, but honestly, I cannot even describe to you how deep the process is that we go through in Recreate Yourself. It's so much more than a technique that you find online. But all that aside, what I really want to emphasize is that there's also a difference between regulating the nervous system and rewiring the nervous system. So when I say regulating the nervous system, I mean bring it back to a state of balance from a state of activation. That can be anxiety, it can be overwhelm, it can be freeze, it can be distraction, disassociation, it can be avoidance, or even disconnection. When you bring it from that state into a state of balance and peace and neutrality, that regulated state is the state where you don't feel as reactive from. You don't feel reactive when you're not triggered, when you're not in a state of activation, right? And regulating your nervous system, for the most part, is something that you can do through a quick practice. You can do some breath work, even some deep breathing. You can do even somatic practices, like movement practices. There's a lot of generic tools that you can use depending on what you need in the moment that will be able to shift your state fairly quickly. But rewiring your nervous system is more about having a different habitual state. It's about changing the imprints in your body where you're holding pain and trauma and tension and resistance. It's about reprogramming yourself into a new natural state of being, a new go-to identity, rather than just regulating yourself in the moment. You want both, really. But a lot of people tend to go in circles with their self-concept work or never really getting to the core. And the reason for that is frequently that the long forgotten imprints at the core of your psyche and your nervous system haven't been dealt with, haven't been processed, haven't been healed, haven't been integrated. So when you think about reprogramming your subconscious, don't forget to include the nervous system. It's maybe the most important part of all. Let me know about your experience. Do you think that your nervous system could be what's holding you back from change, from stepping into your desired self-concept or maintaining your desired self-concept? I would love to hear your insights. In next week's video, we're going to talk about awareness versus integration, because sometimes we can be in the illusion of making progress, but then we have to wake up to the fact that we're not fully there. So it's going to be a really important video. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video.